humble woman is brutally humiliated by a wealthy family in a downtown cafe. Thrown out, left on the sidewalk, treated as if she were nothing. In that moment, with tears in her eyes and bags of donations scattered on the ground, Elena questioned whether God had given up on her. But across the street, a simple carpenter saw everything, and something inside him, like a calling he couldn't ignore, made him cross that street. That same wealthy family that trampled on them both will discover who they really were. And when the truth comes out, regret will be inevitable. Prepare yourself, because this story of faith, redemption, and divine justice will move you from beginning to end. Elena Martinez was 32 years old, but the last few months had aged her face in a way that no mirror could hide. She walked through downtown Portland one October afternoon, carrying 3 heavy bags full of donated clothes she had obtained from a local shelter. The cold wind cut her face, but she kept going, trying not to think about the tiny apartment she could barely afford, the empty refrigerator, the phone that had been disconnected for weeks. 6 months ago, Elena had a stable job as an administrative assistant, a working car, and dreams that were still alive. Then came the unannounced dismissal, followed by eviction, and finally that suffocating feeling of falling into a bottomless pit while the world kept spinning as if she didn't exist. She had knocked on so many doors, filled out so many resumes, begged for so many chances. Nothing. And now there she was, walking the streets in donated clothes, trying to gather the strength not to give up completely. The Belmont cafeteria was one of those chic downtown spots, with marble tables, plants hanging from the ceiling, and a menu where a coffee cost more than Elena spent on food in 2 days. She walked through the glass door without intending to go in, but tripped on the uneven sidewalk and bumped into the door. Bags fell, clothes scattered across the floor. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Elena bent down quickly, trying to gather everything up, her hands trembling with shame and exhaustion. That's when he heard the voice, loud, sharp, full of disdain. "You can't stay there. You're scaring the customers." Elena looked up and saw a woman of about 45, with impeccable blonde hair and designer clothes, staring at her as if she were trash on the sidewalk. Next to her was a man in a gray suit, probably her husband, and 2 bored teenagers fiddling with their cell phones. "I just tripped. I'm leaving now," Elena murmured, trying to gather her clothes faster. "Leaving? You shouldn't even be here. Look at the state she's in, Richard." The woman turned to her husband, her voice even louder. "These kinds of people are taking over the city. That's why you can't leave the house anymore without seeing the—" "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Elena felt tears burning in her eyes. "You didn't want to? You're blocking the entrance." The woman took a step forward, pushing the door forcefully. The door hit Elena's shoulder, causing her to lose her balance and fall to her knees on the sidewalk. The clothes were scattered again. A pink blouse rolled into the gutter. "Okay, now get out of the way before I call security." The woman didn't even look back as she entered the coffee shop with her family. Elena lay there, kneeling on the cold ground, her hands scratched, her heart broken into such tiny pieces she didn't even know how to put them back together. People passed by. Some looked with pity. Others looked away. No one stopped. She began to gather her clothes again, but her hands trembled so much she could barely hold anything. And then, amidst all that humiliation, that emptiness that seemed to swallow her whole, Elena looked at the cloudy sky and whispered, "God, why did you let this happen to me? I tried so hard. I did everything right. Where were you when I needed you most?" At that moment, Elena felt that God had given up on her, that she was alone in this world, invisible, disposable. But she was not alone. Across the street, standing in front of a hardware store, was Daniel Foster. He was 37 years old, with calloused hands from working with wood since he was 15, a faded flannel shirt, and old boots. Daniel was a carpenter, a good carpenter, one of those who still made custom furniture with care and dedication. But to people like the family that had just pushed Elena, he was invisible, just another piece of the urban landscape they didn't even bother to notice. Daniel saw everything. He saw the woman scream, saw Elena fall, saw the humiliation spread across her face like a heavy shadow. And he felt something tighten in his chest, not anger, Not indignation, but something deeper. A calling. An inexplicable certainty that he needed to cross that street. He didn't think twice. "Hey, let me help you." Daniel's voice was calm and gentle as he knelt beside Elena and began to gather her clothes. Elena lifted her face and surprised, her eyes still wet. You don't need to." "I know I don't need it, but I want it." Daniel carefully gathered the clothes, folding each piece before placing them in the bags. "Those people in there," he nodded toward the cafeteria. "They're not worth your tears, not a single one." Elena wiped her face with the back of her hand, trying to compose herself. I was just passing by. I tripped. I didn't do anything wrong." "I know. I saw everything." Daniel finished gathering the clothes and stood up, extending his hand to her. "Come on, get up. Are you hurt?" Elena took his hand and stood up slowly. "I'm fine. I think so." Daniel looked at her intently, her tired face, her sunken eyes showing she hadn't slept properly in a long time, her simple, worn clothes. And then he asked a question that would change everything. "Have you had lunch today?" Elena hesitated. Lying seemed easier, less shameful, but something in the man's genuine kindness made her tell the truth. "No, I haven't eaten anything yet." Daniel nodded as if he already expected that answer. "Then come with me. There's a diner on the corner. Good food and fair prices. My invitation." "No, I can't accept." Elena began to back away, but Daniel held her bags firmly. "Yes, you can, and you will accept it. Because sometimes we need to let another person be an instrument of God in our lives. And today, I think I am that instrument for you." Those words struck Elena like a lightning bolt. Instrument of God. Could it be? Could it be that God hadn't given up on her? Could he be there? In that simple man with calloused hands and a sincere smile? She nodded slowly, unable to speak. They walked side by side to the diner, and while Daniel ordered 2 plates of home-cooked food, Elena felt something she hadn't felt in months. A tiny glimmer of hope beginning to ignite in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as alone as she thought. The diner was simple, but cozy. Light wood walls, the smell of fresh coffee and apple pie, small tables with checkered tablecloths. Elena sat in a chair near the window and, for the first time in months, didn't feel judgmental stares. There, she was just another person trying to survive in a difficult world. Daniel returned with 2 full plates: roast chicken, mashed potatoes, salad, and warm bread. He placed one in front of her and sat down on the other side of the table. "Eat slowly. No rush." Elena picked up her fork, but her hands were still trembling. She took her first bite and closed her eyes. The food was simple, but for her, at that moment, it was everything. She ate slowly, savoring each bite, feeling her body finally receive what it needed. Daniel didn't say much while she ate. He just sat there, drinking coffee, respecting her silence, and when Elena finished, he asked in a soft voice, "Do you want to talk about what's going on? Or would you prefer to stay quiet? Both are fine with me." Elena took a deep breath. It had been so long since anyone had truly asked, with genuine interest, without wanting something in return. "I lost my job 6 months ago," she began, her voice low. "I worked at an accounting firm. Nothing special, but it paid the bills. Then the company closed down overnight. They didn't even give proper notice, and they just sent an email saying it was the last day. I tried to find something else, I swear I tried. I sent my resume everywhere, went to interview after interview, but nothing worked out. And meanwhile, the bills kept piling up." She paused, wiping away a tear that had escaped. "I lost my apartment. I stayed at a friend's house for a while, but she was also going through a difficult time. I didn't want to be a burden, so I went to live in a shelter. And I'm trying. I'm really trying. But it seems like the more I try, the deeper I sink." Daniel listened to every word, his eyes fixed on her, unhurried, without interrupting. And when she finished, he said, "Elena, can I call you Elena?" She nodded. "I've been through that too. Not exactly the same, but similar. About 10 years ago, I lost everything. I had a small workshop, making custom furniture. But then the crisis hit. People stopped buying, and I was left with nothing. Zero. I slept in my car for 3 months, and there were days when I looked up at the sky and said exactly what you said today. God, have you given up on me? Elena looked at him, surprised. This man, so calm, so centered, had gone through that too. And what happened? She asked. Daniel smiled. Not a smile of superficial happiness, Jan, but a smile of someone who knows both pain and victory from the other side of it. God hadn't given up on me. He was just preparing the ground. I met a pastor at a small church. He gave me work, taught me things I didn't know, introduced me to a community that became my family. And today I have my workshop back. It's not much, but it's mine. And I learned that God never abandons us. Sometimes he just waits for the right moment to put the right people in our path. Elena felt her chest tighten. His words were simple, but they carried so much weight, so much truth. And you think there's still hope for me. Elena, there's always a way, always. But you won't get out of this alone. Nobody can. We need community. People who believe in us when we no longer believe in ourselves. Daniel drank the last sip of coffee and then said something that would change everything. Look, I belong to a church nearby. It's small, but the people there are special. They help those in need, without judgment, without charging anything. They have a support program. They help with resumes, training. Sometimes they even find jobs. I think you should check it out. Elena hesitated. Church. It had been years since she'd set foot in a church. After everything started to fall apart, she distanced herself from everything. From God, from faith, from people. I don't know. It's been so long since You don't need to decide now. But think about it carefully. Sometimes the miracle we're waiting for is behind the last door we're afraid to open. They left the diner together. Daniel insisted on carrying her bags to the hostel. On the way, they talked about simple things, about Portland, about autumn approaching, about Daniel's plans to make a new bookshelf for the community library. Small things, but things that made Elena feel human again. When they arrived at the hostel door, Elena turned to him and said, her voice choked with emotion, "Thank you. Really. You didn't need to do any of that. Yes, I needed to. Because if it were me on the ground, I would want someone to stop. And because I believe God put you in my path for a reason." Daniel took an old, crumpled card out of his pocket and handed it to her. "Here, my number. If you need anything, call. And if you want to visit the church, it's Sunday at 10 in the morning. Community of Hope Church on Oak Street. Just show up. No commitment." Elena took the card, holding it as if it were a fragile treasure. "I'll think about it. That's all I ask." That night, lying on the narrow bed in the hostel, listening to the sounds of other women snoring and tossing and turning in the dark, Elena stared at Daniel's card. The dim light from the hallway illuminated the simple letters, Daniel Foster, Carpentry and Restoration. Restoration. That word kept echoing in her head. Could she still be restored? Did God still care about her? She closed her eyes and, for the first time in months, said a real prayer. God, if you're still there, if you still care about me, show me. Give me strength to trust again. Amen. On Sunday morning, Elena woke up early. She lay there for almost an hour, debating with herself. To go or not to go, to trust or not to trust. And then she remembered Daniel's face, his genuine kindness, the words he said. Sometimes the miracle we're waiting for is behind the last door we're afraid to open. She got up, put on the most presentable clothes she had, worn jeans and a simple blue blouse, and left the hostel. The walk to the Church of the Community of Hope took 20 minutes. When she arrived, she saw a small, simple building with a wooden cross in front and people entering with smiles on their faces. Elena took a deep breath and went inside. The church was welcoming. Wooden pews, white walls, an old piano in the corner. There were about 50 people there, of all ages, all dressed simply and genuinely. And right in the first row, Elena saw Daniel. He turned, saw her, and smiled, gesturing for her to sit next to him. She sat down, her heart pounding. The service began with simple, beautiful music, and then the pastor, a black man in his 60s, with gray hair and a warm smile, ascended to the pulpit. Good morning, family. Today I want to talk about something that has been on my heart this week: God's faithfulness in times of hardship. How many of you have ever felt abandoned by God? Raise your hand. Elena hesitated, but then slowly raised her hand. More than half the congregation also raised theirs. It's normal to feel this way. But I'm here to say one thing. God never abandons. Never. Sometimes he remains silent because he's preparing something bigger. And sometimes he uses simple people the world ignores, to be his hands and feet here on earth. Elena felt tears streaming down her face. Those words were exactly what she needed to hear. After the service, people gathered in the adjacent hall for a communal breakfast. Elena was a little lost at first, but soon a lady of about 70 years old, ours with white hair and a sweet smile, came over to her. "Hi, dear, I'm Martha. First time here?" "Yes, Daniel invited me." "Ah, Daniel, that boy has a heart of gold." Martha took Elena's hand tenderly. Come meet everyone. Here, we're all family." And it was true. In the hours that followed, Elena met people who had gone through stories as difficult as hers, people who had lost everything, who had slept on the streets, who had faced addictions, illnesses, abandonment. But they all had something in common: the faith that sustained them, the community that embraced them, the hope that never died. Sarah, a 38-year-old woman who worked as a nurse, offered to help Elena with her resume. "I work at St. Vincent's Hospital. They're always hiring for administrative positions. I can put my word on your behalf." James, a 50-year-old man who owned a small cleaning business, said, "If you need temporary work while you look for something permanent, let me know. I always need responsible people." And Pastor Marcus pulled Elena aside, sat down with her, and asked, in that calm, deep voice, "Elena, I want you to know something. You didn't end up here by chance. Daniel told me a little bit of your story, and I felt in my spirit that God has big plans for you. But first, we need to take care of you. Body, soul, and spirit. The church has a fund to help people in emergency situations. We can help you with rent for a few months until you get settled. It's not charity, it's love. It's what we do." Elena couldn't hold back her tears. "Pastor, I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything. Just accept it. And when you get up, and you will get up, you help someone else. That's how the kingdom works." In the following weeks, Elena's life began to change. Sarah got her an interview at the hospital. Elena went, nervous but prepared. Sarah had reviewed her resume and coached her for the interview, and she got it. A job at reception, fixed hours, decent salary, benefits. With the financial support of the church, Elena was able to rent a small apartment. Nothing luxurious, but it was hers. She cried when she received the key. She cried and thanked God on her knees. And throughout all of this, Daniel was there. Not in an intrusive or forced way, but present. He helped her move, brought some furniture he had made himself, fixed the leaky sink. They started spending more time together, having lunch after church on Sundays, walking in the park on Saturday afternoons, talking about everything and nothing. Elena realized she was falling in love. It wasn't the overwhelming passion of a soap opera. It was something deeper: respect, admiration, trust. Daniel was the kind of man she never imagined finding. Humble, hardworking, loyal, kind. A man who knew pain, but chose love. And he felt the same way too. One evening in December, they were sitting on her living room sofa, drinking hot chocolate and watching the snow fall outside the window. Daniel held her hand and said, "Elena, there's something I need to tell you." She turned to him, her heart racing. I think I fell in love with you. I don't know exactly when it happened. Maybe it was that first day when I saw you on the ground and felt like God was calling me to cross the street. Or maybe it was when you smiled for the first time and a few days later. I just know that you became the most important person in my life. And I wanted to know if you feel the same." Elena felt the tears streaming down her face again. But this time they were tears of pure joy. "Daniel, I also fell in love with you. You saved me. You showed me that God hadn't given up on me. You gave me back hope." They kissed there in that small, cozy room, while snow blanketed the city outside. And they both knew it wasn't a coincidence. It was purpose. It was God orchestrating every detail. 2 years passed. Elena and Daniel got married in a simple and beautiful ceremony at the Community of Hope Church, with everyone who had supported them present. They bought a small house and began to build a solid life based on faith, love, and purpose. Elena now worked as an administrative coordinator at the hospital, and in her free time, volunteered in the church's support program, helping other women who were going through what she had gone through. Daniel continued with his carpentry business, but now he also gave free woodworking classes to vulnerable young people. They had a 1-year-old daughter, little Grace, who brightened their lives with every smile. But God had not yet finished the story. One Saturday afternoon, Elena was grocery shopping with Grace in the cart when she heard a familiar voice, a voice she would never forget. "This city is impossible. Poor people everywhere." Elena turned and saw her, the woman from the coffee shop, the woman who had pushed her, humiliated her, made her feel like less than nothing. She was there, in the checkout line, complaining loudly to her husband. Elena felt her stomach churn. All the memories of that day came rushing back at once. The pain, the shame, the despair. But then she looked at Grace, at her daughter smiling at her, and remembered all that God had done. She was no longer that broken woman on the floor. She was a daughter of God, restored, renewed, loved. Elena took a deep breath and did something she never imagined she would do. She approached the woman. "Excuse me." The woman turned around, annoyed. "What?" I just wanted to tell you that I forgive you." The woman frowned, confused. "Forgive? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, you pushed me out of a coffee shop downtown. You humiliated me in front of everyone. And that day, I thought God had given up on me. But he hadn't. He used that moment to lead me to the right people, to the right purpose. So I just wanted to say, thank you, and that I forgive you." The woman remained silent, her face pale, her eyes wide, and for the first time, Elena saw something in that face. Not arrogance, but shame. You don't need to say anything. I just wanted you to know that the person you stepped on that day was restored by God, and that he can do the same for you, if you let him." Elena picked Grace up and left the supermarket, her heart at peace. She didn't need revenge. She didn't need satisfaction, because God had already done justice in the most beautiful way possible, not by destroying her enemies, but by restoring her life in a way that no one could take away. That night, at home, while Daniel was putting Grace to bed, Elena stood on the balcony gazing at the stars, and she whispered, "Thank you, God. Thank you for never giving up on me. Thank you for sending Daniel. Thank you for every tear, every pain, every desert experience, because all of that brought me here. I trust in the Lord. I will always trust." And in the silence of that night, she felt God's presence like never before. He had always been there, from beginning to end, waiting for the perfect moment to show that his plans were bigger, better, more beautiful than she had ever imagined. Because God does not abandon, he sustains, he restores, he transforms. And sometimes, the miracle comes through the hands of those whom the world ignores, but whom he chose from the beginning to change everything. Elena's story teaches us that God never gives up on us, even when we think he's no longer watching. Sometimes, miracles come through the hands of the simplest people, those the world ignores, but whom God chose to transform everything. Elena discovered that the desert wasn't abandonment, it was preparation, and that every tear, every humiliation, every moment of pain was weaving something beautiful that only God could see. Today, she is living the purpose she almost lost faith in achieving. And the lesson remains: never give up, because God is writing a story bigger than your eyes can see now. If this story touched you, leave a like, comment what you thought, and subscribe to keep hearing stories like this. Your story can also have a beautiful ending. Just have faith. Also, watch this video I'm leaving for you.